देखो यार, आज का थोड़ा सा लंबा जाने वाला है क्योंकि इंट्रोडक्शन रहेगा, मतलब थोड़ा एक्सटेंड होगा, बट वी विल ट्राई टू कीप इट विद इन 10-15 मिनट्स एंड कोशिश करेंगे कि 5-10 मिनट हम क्वेश्चन आंसर सेशन कर सकें ताकि किसी के डाउट्स वगैरह कुछ हो तो मतलब उसको क्लियर करी जा सके. So we'll keep it short and crisp. We'll take bites at a time so that हमें digest करने में भी दिक्कत ना हो और मतलब continuously हम इस चीज को करते रहें, थोड़ा थोड़ा at a time सीखें. But आज का थोड़ा सा लंबा होने वाला है, so apologies for that. But okay, let's start. I hope my screen is visible.
Yes, it is.
Okay. Okay, so we'll be starting with very basics of stock market. हम हिंदी इंग्लिश दोनों यूज करेंगे, but we'll start with एकदम basic layman and then we'll try to go to some advanced topics such as using AI, using machine learning, using some advanced stuff for stock market analysis. So this is what you can expect from the course. Things might be very basic in the beginning, but given the dynamics of the crowd, I think that's how we should start. So basically, let's start with who am I? Who am I in terms of stock market? I have been with stock market for around 10 years now, 9 to 10 years now. I started stock market before I started my career. So even when I was in college, I was quite fascinated with stock market. My father was a very, active trader in the stock market. He used to trade from 30 years now, from around 1993, 1992. So that's where I picked up stock market. I used to listen to a lot of news with him. I used to listen, a lot of techniques that he used to use in his days. But yeah, so that's how my stock market journey started. Currently, I have an organization, Hestos Technologies, which is using machine learning and AI for detection of for predicting stock market, and we use technical fundamental analysis mostly, and also macroeconomics for stock market trading. So that's a very brief summary about who I am, what I do. And most of you do know me from past, so I wanted to start with you guys and let's see how it spreads. Okay, then moving on to we'll start with what is stock market, right? Stock market is basically a market in which you have stocks. Stock is any single share that you hold. For example, if you have a company, say who has 100 crores of market capital, and this particular company wants to raise funds. So what it will do is it will give you a fraction or portion of its partnership to public, and it will say that, hey, since I need money, say I list my particular stock in the stock market for say 10 rupees a share. Now, since my market capital is 100 crores, I want to dispose of 40% of my share to the market. So I will do the maths and say that, okay, 40 crores, 10 rupee per share, 4 crore shares. So 4 crore shares I'll float in the market. So that particular single stock or that particular single share that is there of that particular company is known as stock. And what is a stock market? It is aggregation of buyers and sellers of this particular stock that, it's a place where you can buy or sell just like any other market. But but what you buy and sell is basically the stock that you're buying or selling in that particular market. That's known as a stock market. I won't bore you with, my aim is not to bore you with very much details. So, and I like to make this interaction as, bi-directional as possible, as interactive as possible, so that we can interact more. And this is not like a monologue, it becomes a dialogue between us. So the biggest question that arises, or mostly which I found out, is stock market is a gamble? Because most of my folks who are 50, 60 now, 40 years old now, they take stock market, they say that, hey, stock market is a gamble, upfront. So is stock market a gamble? I would love to know your opinions. We have around 10 participants over here. I would love to know your opinions. That do you think that stock market is a gamble? Anyone?
I think in the short run, you can call it as a gamble, and maybe in the long run, it's it's like a strategy or a wealth creator in the long term. But in the short term, maybe like unless you have very deeper understanding.
You're actually very right on the point. Even in short terms, it is not exactly a gamble. I mean, I would argue, but in short term as well, you can look at some indicators or some news or something that happens in a market, because of which you can predict the market and you can predict a particular stock, and you can say that, hey, this particular stock is going to go up or down. Of course, we are going to study that, how it can be done. But even in short terms, yes, most of the people that are there in the stock market, they gamble because they don't look at any indicators, they don't look at any fundamentals of the company, they don't look at any macroeconomics at play. So they do gamble in the stock market. Just if I say today, hey, go and buy Infosys, it's going to touch 2,000 rupees in the coming 3 months. And then what people do is they blindly follow, the herd mentality. They blindly follow it. They go buy a particular stock, and then, that's a gamble. But if you take a calculated risk or a calculated assessment of the stock market, there are chances in which you can, in short term or even in mid terms, you can, make profit out of it, not just by guesstimating or, gambling in it, but with some indicators. So yes, you're correct. In short term, most people do gamble, but actually it can be turned into a profitable business.
Yeah, I think that's what we are here to learn, like how in the short run, how to not make it as a gamble, and actually do the fundamental analysis, and understand the nitty-gritties, and maybe make some earnings out of it.
Absolutely. Okay, so there are some market slangs which we would be going one by one, down the line. Not today, I won't bore you with the theoretical knowledge, but these are something which you should know. I want to know how many of you have watched Scam 1992, the Arshad Mehta story.
I have.
Okay, anyone else?
Yeah, I have.
Okay, so a couple of them, 3-4 of them. So Scam 1992 was a story regarding a Harshad Mehta scam which was done in 1992. It's a nice story to watch. But long story short, why I mentioned it over here is because if you know Scam 1992, you would understand quite a lot of these market slangs. What is a bull market, bear market, bunny market, and so on. So we'll just start and quickly touch upon these slangs, so that moving forward, if we use these slangs, we are not, we are in a position to understand that, okay, this is what we wanted to deliver, the message. So basically, bull market is nothing but, so there are actually two things which you need to understand. One is the bull and the other is a bear. So bull is something, it's about how this particular animal attacks. If you look at a bull, what it does is it uses its horn to attack, right? So it pulls up. So that's why it's known as, whenever the market goes up, it is known as a bull market, because, the attacking phase is upward. So therefore it's known as a bull market. And what a bear does, it uses its claws to, to pin his enemy down or pin his prey down. So that's why a bear market is a market where actually your market, when it is going down, that is known as a bear market. Can anyone guess what is a bunny market?
When it goes up and down frequently, maybe something like that.
Yes, when it goes sideways. So bull market, in a bull market, you will see that the market is going quite a lot up, say 5%, 10%. Then it's a bull market. Bear market going 5%, 10% down. But bunny market would be a market in which the market is moving sideways. It is neither going up nor going down. So sometimes it may go 0.5% up, 1% up. It will then drag down back to 0.5%, 1%, and that's a bunny market. So whales or sharks are big investors such as Rakesh Jhunjhunwala, Vijay Kedia, or any such investor will be tagged as a shark or a whale. Short and long. So shorting is selling in the market. Long is when you're holding a position or when you're buying something. So whenever you're bullish about a market, you will long or short?
Long.
Long. And when you're bearish about a market, you will short,
Short.
right? Now, to the moon, of course, you know what to the moon means, right? It means when a market will go up to the moon,
At its peak.
right? And what is tanking? Tanking generally means when the market is bearish or when it is selling, when it is, when it has started selling and now it is just crashing off. It is known as tanking. Then there are some other terms, pump and dump. Market Ninja will understand those in more details. I won't bore you with the nitty-gritties as of now, but you'll have long-term investments. Generally, an investment which is done 1 year plus is termed as a long-term investment. Short-term investment where you go for, say, 1 day, 1 week, 1 month, 3 months. 3 months to 1 year someone would argue that it's still a mid-term investment, but when you go for short-term investments, that when you go for within a month or within 3 months investments, that's generally traded as tagged as a short-term investment. Even there are investments which are done in microseconds and nanoseconds. They would also be termed as a short-term investment. They are basically called HFTs. We will learn about those in future, but high frequency tradings. But just for the sake of understanding, they are also termed as short-term investments. Okay, swing trading. Swing trading is nothing but when a particular stock, when you're sure that a particular stock is moving in an upward direction, you just go with the flow. So it's a swing, right? The stock is moving up, you take profit when it's moving up in a short-term range, and then you sell it off wherever the swing makes high. So that's swing trading. We would be learning a lot of techniques in and around swing tradings. अब मेरे ख्याल से ज्ञान ज़्यादा हो गया है. So let's stop it over here. And we will learn and understand these market slangs in and out inside the whole course. But this was something which was very basic, which I wanted you guys to know. So that's why I, quickly went through all of these market slangs. Any questions, any doubts, any concerns till here?
Can you explain swing trading once again?
Swing trading is nothing but it's like a swing. It's like a jhula. So if the jhula is going up, if the if that particular stock is going up, what you do is you just go with the flow. When the stock is going up, you buy it. That okay, this has started moving up now. You buy it, and it reaches its highest point, and then you sell it off. So this is the profit that you make in the stock itself. So that's a swing trading. I hope that makes sense.
Yeah.
Okay. Any other questions, people?
Can you please pardon what was the tanking term?
Tanking is basically, so to the moon is going on top, right? Tanking is nothing but going to the bottom. Tanking. Generally, it is used when a particular person, it's quite related to pump and dump. So I would not worry much about it, but we will learn that in future. What is pump and dump? What is tanking? Any other questions? All right. So moving forward, let's understand how the market works. So market generally works. How does any simple market work, right? For example, if I go to say if I go to a shop and there is say Corona right now, and I go to a grocery shop and I need a Maggie. Now my question is to you, will that Maggie, and suppose that there are 100 people who need a Maggie packet, and if there is nothing, no concept like MRP, maximum retail price, it's just that you can get Maggie at whatever price that you need. So now if I go to a market, if I go to a grocery shop, and then there's one Maggie packet, and literally 100 of people who need that particular Maggie packet. What do you think would happen to the price of this particular Maggie packet? Suppose that the price of this Maggie packet is 5 rupees. What will happen to the price of this particular Maggie packet? Anyone?
Super high.
Super high, right?
Because supply is less, demand is more.
Demand is more, right? The supply is less and the demand is more. So this is what happens in the market as well. Whenever there is a stock, which everyone starts, guessing that, okay, this particular stock is going to go up, or if there is any news around any particular stock where, it says that, okay, this particular company made 20% profit than the previous quarter, or say 15% profit than the previous quarter, all of a sudden, or a stock, a healthcare, a pharma company suddenly gives, starts rolling out a coronavirus vaccine. So what's going to happen to this particular stock? The demand of this stock is going to increase, right? So the price of this particular stock will increase. Come back to your example, come back to your Maggie example. One product, because there are limited number of stocks in the market, right? And the number of people who need that particular stock will increase. So what will happen is the price of this stock will increase because the demand of this particular stock is increasing and the supply is constant in the market, right? Because the number of shares of this particular stock in the market is always constant. Am I making sense?
Yes.
People, yes, no?
Yes.
Okay. So that's how the market would generally work on a very high level. Then the next thing is macroeconomics. Macroeconomics includes inflation, stagflations, or any other policies which are getting introduced. What is the unemployment rate? What is the growth rate? What is the GDP of a country? All these things will also decide the market's dynamics. Then comes the sentiment, how people are actually reacting. So for example, if the unemployment rate is very high, if people are not getting employed, they won't have spare money or extra money to, push into the market. So then the market will fall. For example, if you take example of coronavirus, people were very scared. People were very skeptical about what's going to happen in future. So the sentiments were very down. So you will always see the market getting, the price of the market getting reflected by the sentiments as well. Then there would be company dynamics itself, which would be playing into play. So for example, a particular stock, say the CEO made a fraud, did some fraud with the company. There was some fraudulent transaction, or there was some mishappenings. There was some hacking which happened inside an IT security firm or something like that. So the company dynamics, that will of course play a huge role. And again, the politics as well, right? Because let's not take names, but the ruling party in the power will always have few people whom he wants to favor. For example, say Reliance, Adani, these people will always be favored by some parties. Some other party, XYZ party, will favor some other, people such as Tata or maybe someone else, Birla, for example. So the politics itself will also play a very huge role in the market dynamics overall. Any questions over here?
Like, I'm not sure, but what you said that when we buy, like when the demand is very high, so price, like people tend to sorry, when the demand is very high, so people tend to buy more. So like, is it okay to buy? Because like eventually it is not of that rate, but since only the demand is high, people are buying it. So like, is it okay to say that the value of that thing is not that much, but just because of demand it is rising? So is it safe to go with the herd mentality?
That's actually a very good question. The answer to this question is yes and no. Yes, if the company has future potential of getting at par with the price that it is currently trading at, then of course you should go. But if the company is not at par, the news is not that great, it's just that people are just buying going with the herd mentality, then no, that price is going to drop, because the stock will always correct itself. So that won't be a good time to buy. And of course, we're going to understand more about when it is a good time to buy, when it is not a good time to buy, whether the market is the price of the stock is correct or not according to the current news or current fundamentals, current technicals that are there for that stock. So we are going to deep dive into that. Don't worry. Any other questions?
If we see the example of Zomato, the share price opened at 120, I think, at that time, and now its price is around 80, or I don't remember exactly, but it's quite go down. So मतलब अगर हम देखें, so many people were buying it that time. So if I have invested over there for long term, because everyone is using Zomato, and Zomato is not gonna just vanish from the market. If I see in 10 years, it will boom, and still its stock price is not as good as it was earlier. So
Okay. Yeah, please.
So अभी पहले वाले एग्जांपल पे देखें, so demand was high. I invested thinking that company is gonna go good in future years, and still.
Okay. So if I understood it correctly, you're saying that since the demand was very high for the company and still the stock price tanked, right?
Yeah.
For Zomato? No. The demand was not very high for the company. The Zomato IPO was released, I think, 3-4 months back, if I'm not wrong. And the main reason, if you just read through why, so of course, you need to read a lot, you need to research a lot about a company. When the Zomato was giving out the IPO, the company has to, any company which gives out the IPO, it has to give a release paper that, okay, why do we want an IPO? Why are we giving out an IPO? What are our future plans? What is the reason that we are becoming a public company? Why don't we want to stay private? And there are a lot of things that a company explains in those particular papers. So if you go through the IPO paper of the Zomato itself, you'll see that the company was already under a very huge debt, very heavy debt. So the company was at a verge of shutdown, because of which the company said that, hey, we will, give initial public offerings, we'll give out an IPO, and we'll try to minimize this debt. And that's what the company has done altogether. Now, the problem with this particular IPO was that the people knew that the company itself is a very debt company. If you even look at the balance sheet of Zomato, you'll see that there's a lot of debt which was there with the Zomato, because of which people were not very interested in Zomato's IPO, and the price tanked for this particular company. But is the company bad? Absolutely not. As soon as it starts recovering, it's as soon as it starts becoming a profitable company, Zomato is still not profitable. Yes, it's a unicorn startup, but it's still not profitable. So taking that into account, you see that the price has fallen a lot. It went up to 56, if I remember it correctly. And now it has started rising again. So it's a good firm, but in a long term. And of course, there are a lot of things that you need to read and understand before investing into that particular market. Hope that makes sense. Sorry, your voice broke, Alina. Okay. Any other questions?
Yeah, Nashid. So I would like to talk about third point, sentiments, right? So like, how should we gauge the market, like on the basis of sentiments? Now we are out of COVID, right? So now everybody should invest in market, because like now we have some certainty, right? Like people are started investing in like commercial things, or like IT sector, right? But still we are seeing from last 1 to 1.5 months, the market is going like anything, right?
Right.
So how should we gauge it? Like when should we invest, basically on the basis of sentiments?
Okay. Not just 1 to 1.5 month. Even if you look, the market is tanking from December 21.
Yeah, the market started
January 20.
after
Yes.
it's still going down, down and down, right?
Yes. So the main reason why the market is going down. Okay. So to answer the first question, where do you read? Where do you understand the market dynamics? News. Financial Express, Business Standards, Economic Times, read those news. Go through the overall macroeconomics, what is happening in the market. So from December itself, what had happened is the Feds have increased you'll see a lot of housing loan interest rate now going up. There's a lot of inflation that is coming up. There's a lot of, in fact, we are in a stagflation state now. And if you don't understand inflation, stagflation, it's totally fine. It's microeconomics. We'll understand it. Don't worry. But the people have started these Feds and Indian governments, they have started printing a lot of money to tackle this inflation. But because of this, there's a lot of mismatch equation between the demand supply that is happening right now. So that's the reason why the market is tanking. But even if you look at how they pumped up the market till 18,000, 18,500 after the COVID, even during the COVID period, the market was just going up. It was because of the lot of printing that they did for the money, despite of all the supply chain and everything getting disrupted. So, you need to understand, you need to look at all the dimensions of the market, not just the demand and supply, the macroeconomics, the company dynamics, the politics and everything. Then you would be able to time the market properly. So that's how you will be able to understand the sentiments of the market. We'll learn more about that. Don't worry.
Okay, thanks.
Welcome. Anything else? Okay.
One more question.
Yes.
Do you also think like after this movie, there was so much like rise in youngster? If I see around my age, there was no such enthusiast in my age, like let's trade in stock market. But now when I see my peers, everyone is like, I'm having some savings, let's talk, let's apply in some stock, let's make it double. So like it was also in this situation was also in 5 years back or just after COVID. There is lot of so many people on LinkedIn everywhere, they are saying invest your money, invest your money. Like पहले भी था ऐसा.
Okay, I think Ayush आपने पूछा था ये question, if I'm correct.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Ayush, one thing that I want you to understand is, and this is not, I'm not making up numbers. Just go to Google and just have a look at it. 95% of the people who trade in the stock market incur losses. That's the bitter truth of this market. The problem is people want to वो राजू वाली जो स्कीम थी ना, 21 दिन में पैसा डबल, लोग हमेशा वो चाहते हैं कि भाई 21 दिन में हमारा पैसा डबल हो जाए. अरे यार ऑप्शंस, इफ यू गाइस अंडरस्टैंड व्हाट ऑप्शंस एंड फ्यूचर्स आर, यार फ्यूचर में लगाते हैं, ऑप्शंस में लगाते हैं. लिटरली मैंने लोगों के पैसे एक दिन में, 3 दिन में, 4 दिन में ऑप्शंस में पैसे डबल होते हुए देखा है. और वही 3 4 दिन में मैंने लोगों के पैसे जीरो भी होते हुए देखे. बट लुक एट people who are actually in the market and who are actually making money out of this market. Who are these people? They are actually people like Warren Buffett, people like Jhunjhunwala, people like, these guys are actually investors in the market. They invest time, they invest money, they try to read, they try to understand the market, and then they make money. How much do they make? They make hell lot of money. Those 5% people, they make a hell lot of money. People who try to time the market, who try to time the market, who try to go on calls, they generally don't make they generally don't make a lot of money. So what I would say is learn, understand, and then start growing your wealth. Growing a wealth is like planting a seed and then reaping the fruits out of it. That's how you can grow your wealth. That's how you can reap the benefits out of it. If you will try to grow a tree in a week, you won't be able to get the fruits out of it. Hope that makes sense.
Yes, sir.
Okay. All right. Moving forward. So this is how a market works, or this is what a market dynamics is. Now, how does a company work, or a particular stock of a company? How does that particular stock goes up or down? So again, demand and supply, crowd sentiments. Crowd sentiment is basically someone said, okay, buy karo is stock ko, and then you'll see that that particular stock going, from 10 rupees to 100 rupees within a matter of a month, 2 months, or 3 months, and then if you fundamentally look at the company is not that good. So there are crowd sentiments as well, because of which the company generally goes up or down. Then of course you need to look at the stock fundamentals. We would be doing a lot of fundamental analysis of a stock. We would be doing we'll be looking at balance sheets, we would be looking at cash flow statements, we'll be looking at some ratios and a lot of stuff. Then of course the politics plays a very important role. For example, I'll give you a very simple example. Geo. I think everyone over here would agree that Geo came into the market, into the existence, because of lot of push or lot of backing that was given from the government. I know Ambani had a lot of money to execute the plan, but there was a lot of push from the government which was given, because of which Geo disrupted the industry. And as Geo disrupted the industry, today you see Idea struggling, one of the biggest telecommunications telecom stock, now struggling even to stay in the market. A company like Vodafone has just said that, okay, we won't be working in this market, we don't want India, we'll just sell everything, we'll just merge everything with Idea. And even after their merger, things how many people out of this 10 participants, I'm sure that none of us would be using Idea as of now. So you can understand how the politics can bring a company to the moon or just tank it. So politics also plays a very big role and very interesting role. Then there are of course, what is the solution that they're that they're using for solving their problems? Are they using advanced technologies? Are they using the technologies which are 100 years old? This also plays a very important role. I think the meeting is going to end in 3 minutes. I'll share a new link with you guys if it ends. So please feel free to join on that link. And so a very sweet example and very quick example that I would like to give you over here is, for example, Tata Motors. Now, Tata Motors is trying to move towards EV with the EV wave that is going on in the whole market. And if you look at Maruti is still quite behind in the EV competition or the EV space. And if you look at Mahindra has also come up with quite a lot of EV centric vehicles. So, and if you look at these stock prices, Tata Motors, even if you look at Mahindra, these stock prices have actually rallied a lot in the past, in the history, in the past 1 year. So that's how the solution to the problem that you're trying to solve, the competition in the stock market also makes you decide that this particular stock, will it go up or go down. Then there are some technical parameters which are purely based upon statistics and mathematics, which also will help you in identifying a good buying opportunity or a good selling opportunity. We won't strictly rely on these technicals, but we would also include fundamentals of this particular stock along with the technicals to understand that whether this particular stock is a good buy or a good sell. Then there's macroeconomics, of course. There are government sanctions. So if you guys know, I don't know if you guys know, but there are a lot of sanctions which have been put on steel industries on their export, on how much steel they can export in the world. So because of that, all the steel stocks are tanking. So government sanctions, of course, play a very important role. Then there are current events, there are natural calamities, and so on. Questions, people? We have around 1 minute, then I'll share the new link with you. But any questions till then? Okay, I'll take that as a no, and we'll move forward. I know things have been very long and very boring. So enough of boring stuff, boring theoretical stuff. Let me try to, lighten things up and lighten your mood and make it a bit less technical than it was before. What we'll do is we'll quickly end this meeting. I'll share the new meeting links with you, and then maybe you guys can join it over there. All right. Thank you all.
Can you share a link on chats? So maybe everyone can access.
Okay, but we hardly have 1 minute, so I guess it will take it will take some time for me to generate a